following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey, what's up, Ant-Man?
Yeah, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. Another day, another dollar.
Short. I have short, small things in my life that make me really happy, and I get excited about my show every Monday. I'm like, woo! Like 20 minutes before the show. I know we meet up a little bit before the show, so I'm like, ah! Before I get in the studio, and I have to tone it down before I get on the show.
Well, don't tone it down. Bring it.
No, well,
Bring it.
I gotta I get all screamy and fanboyish. I'm like, yeah, I get to hang out with Roxy, woo!
Hey,
So,
what's up?
not much, man. Hanging out. I went and had a drink with my good friend Sean Fitzpatrick from Carolina Hemp Company last night, and had one drink. It kind of like has been a long time since I've been out and actually had an adult beverage with another adult, and it was fun to be able to be out and do something like that. But I it's been a while. I didn't have much to eat. I drank on a light stomach. Not to mention what I had was warm instead of chilled, and it was just it paraded from there.
Oh my!
My football team lost. I was pissed. It was just rough. It was great. Yeah, I had hot chicken takeover and ended up regretting it. Like, man, like it was just a piss poor day. But you know what? It's Monday and I can redeem myself.
Those are the days that make us who we are. It makes us stronger, bigger, better, right?
Great. What's going on, Mr. Dave? Miss Cat Blue Eyes in the house. We have a bunch of other people tuning in from here, there, and everywhere. Thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate you guys. So, Rox, man, I'm going to be honest with you, girl. Like, talking about WhatsApp and all this stuff, like, I was skeptical. I really was. Like,
Same here.
I really was hoping that I could catch him in some kind of something, be like, but I couldn't. Like, he brought up some killer points. Mark was on point, and I can't wait to share with everybody the tips and tricks. I really feel like bands and artists, especially like solo artists that are good with communicating and on top of their own shit, where they're not just on top of other people's, they can really hone in on their thing. I think that's pretty awesome, man. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I found a lot of key points to it and a lot of advantages that we can play on and grow.
Yeah, and it's I'll be honest, learning about the area codes, learning about the system, and learning about, like, wow, I walked away like looking up more. I spent the whole rest of the day. I know there was chat going. You messaged me on WhatsApp and stuff like that. I'm gonna get you my WhatsApp phone number so we can get that out there, so people can have our digits, I guess, on there, and start trying to get some new people, connected.
Yeah, we'll have those WhatsApp's number after our guest today, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We're gonna start something big here.
Yo, man.
And not only with starting something big with WhatsApp, we also have some really big news to share with everybody.
Are we allowed to talk about the whole calendar, or are we just going to talk about just 3 or 4 names?
So I have my old calendar right in front of me, actually, and
so do I.
I kind of want to name drop.
Yeah. I was sitting here. I was like, oh, so how do I break this? Do I just say, so, hey, I got my list. You got your list?
Nope, I got mine.
Right on. Cool. So I guess first, before anything else, man, I just want to say thank you to all the people that helped us get here. from the team that have helped us grow this, from our graphics work to our promotions work, and having people communicate and give us feedback in our group about our designs, our merch, and our ideas, and definitely involving yourself in that conversation and weighing in shows us just how important it is to you, just as it is important to us. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely a lot of thanks to all of you guys, because it's been a great experience learning and growing with all of you guys, and your feedback has been extremely important, and we value all of it, every bit of you, and we couldn't be more happier with the future plans that we have for RA Nation.
I don't think people I love it when somebody sits back and says, "I bet you can't." Like
Yeah.
that's and so that's why I'm even more excited about this. So let's
Dude,
get this
that's the
interview.
fire for women. That is fire for us. That's what gets us going. When somebody tells us we can't do it, I will show you different.
That's you wear the pants, I wear the pajamas because it's more comfortable. Like I have no problem with that.
We're gonna
So
make a T-shirt of that.
it's gonna be perfect. I'm gonna sell bunches of them to all the dads with the dad buns. Like yeah.
So merch is growing. We got a new logo too, so let's go ahead and flash that to everybody.
Mr. Mike Coletti, man, thank you so much for that. Awesome. That's going to be on some merch coming out and some new stuff that's going to be around the corner. So be watching for that.
So everybody, drop your feedback. Let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Let it be excited with us, because we got a lot of exciting things happening.
Yeah, man. It's pretty crazy to think about, because we were just talking about it, and it was just I feel like not that long ago we were just sitting here talking about it, and now all of this stuff is coming around, and people are like, "Hey, what's going on over here?" Yeah. So once we get them all in WhatsApp, I think then we'll be able to pinky in the brain, We'll
back to the networking thing. We are definitely working the net, aren't we?
You tell him, Roxy, get him.
So
yeah, let's do this. I'm excited, Mr.
So how about we do these name drops real quick, and let you take over.
You couldn't wait. I knew you couldn't wait.
I know. I'm excited. Or should we want to go ahead with Mark, or you want to go with name drop?
You know what? It's up to you. You seem really excited, so we'll appease the courts today, and we'll name drop here. So where do you want to start on this list here? I am looking at. Give me a second.
Yeah, I'll take over October's and you take over November's list.
All right. That works for me. All right. So you go ahead.
So the four people that we have lined up in October, and they'll go in order per week. So the first week we've got Randy Edelman, and Randy Edelman is a composer and musician, and he writes for a lot of movies. So I'm really excited for this, because he wrote some incredible music. We've got Dermageddon, which he's a drummer, and he's got some phenomenal stuff going on. Scott Page, he's from Pink Floyd, one of my favorite bands of all time. And Leland Sklar, he's an amazing bassist. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, man. And if we're going to close out November, we're going to go right into December. We are already working out December, but we're not giving that to you because we want you to be just happy the way it is. But here is November. Mr. Joey Belladonna himself is going to be hanging out with us. Very excited.
Yes.
It looks like we got Rocky Kramer coming up as well. One of the most anticipated interviews of this whole setup for October and November is April Rose. To be able to sit down with April and chop it up with her about just everything. Like, it's gonna be hard to really like hone in just one particular band. I'm gonna want to hold her on the show for like 2 hours. No Mansfield, and we're gonna close out November with RO as well. And hopefully, when we close it out with RO, we're gonna have something real special for you guys because it's gonna be that time of year. And so be looking out for that. Also, we're gonna try to be helping get some blankets on some kids and some stuff around the community, man. I'm gonna try to do some stuff here in my community with a couple local businesses. I think I'm gonna get some of that info over to you, Roxy. Maybe you can get some local businesses up there that want to throw in, and we can get some stuff over to somebody in our community, one of our communities that needs it.
Yeah, definitely a huge goal for our nation is to help provide and help give back to those who need it.
Yeah, man. I went out just before like we kind of started doing stuff, and I donated. I gave a gift card to in our neighborhood app. There's a kid who had posted about having lack of school supplies. Parents couldn't afford it, so myself and a couple of neighbors got together and ran over and put a backpack with school supplies on the kid's porch.
Nice.
I was afraid we were gonna get shot because you don't just walk up on somebody's porch and just drop shit down, like then walk away. Not these days. But that's what we did. I mean, we did it broad daylight. We didn't do it crazy, but it was cool to be able to like just do that like Secret Santa style.
Yeah, definitely love that.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to make sure that they share this stuff with everybody else and spread the word because we've got a lot of great things happening. Really, really proud of what RA Nation has done. And again, we couldn't have done it without all of you guys. So thank you so much.
Yes.
And so with that, networking, right? Networking. We grow by meeting people, learning things, right? So
there's a few different ways you could look at it. I think it'll hit different ways. I think honestly, like everybody should be able to walk away with something for this, because Dave is a local business owner, so it'd be a way for him to get his products out front of it, And this would be a way for Carl Keaton to get in touch with new markets of music, new everything really. She frozen. She froze. You see that? She's frozen. So like I could go and like I could like write, like I could draw, like let's see, can I screenshot? No, I can't screenshot. That would be horrible. What happened? Oh no. She's frozen. So we did this interview earlier with Mr. Mark Jarrett, and when he was talking about WhatsApp, he basically broke it down as a massive networking tool. It's a free service, and you basically go to the whatsapp.com/download, and you can actually download it to your desktop. I advise, even if you have an Android or an iPhone, to sync it to a tablet or to a computer that you have, so that way you have messaging in two forms. You have your mobile device, and then you have the actual desktop computer. And when you go to your desktop or whatever device you're signing in from, it'll give you a download option, obviously Mac or Windows. It'll be Android, iPhone. If you are doing it directly from your phone, go to whatsapp.com/DL on your mobile phone to install that. Pretty quick, easy couple steps. I believe it was less than 3 steps, honestly, to get signed up. And once you do, you get your WhatsApp phone number. As a matter of fact, let me jump in here real quick. I can open up my messenger. So basically, you can send files, you can call, you can video, you can do everything. But this isn't just something locally. This is something globally. We're talking about talking to somebody in another country right now, not when they get your email. This is an opportunity to be able to reach out to like the community as a whole, like as far as bands, music, like all kinds of different things. I feel like this is an awesome networking tool to put people out front of other people. Man, I don't know, like it's different. Mark broke it down pretty simple earlier during the show, and I, in conversation with talking to him, man, I thought when I walked into it that I was gonna just not understand it because it's not direct, but actually having Mark sit down, like he actually made me do it with him after the show. I actually sit down and make sure everything was properly set up. But once it's synced with your phone and your device, you're able to communicate with anybody and everybody. And they have a bunch of groups that you can join in and participate in. And I am still learning the ins and outs of it. But it so far, with everything that I have put in today, it crazily, like, actually it works, man. It really does. If I could share my screen, let me see. So I'm gonna like take over here. So we're looking at WhatsApp right here. And so you can go to whatsapp.com. You can actually go to the web here, and you scan that QR code with your camera. Most phones, most devices are able to basically just turn your camera on, run it with this, and go directly to it. So with that being said, I believe even if you're sitting at home right now on your couch, you should be able to turn your camera on and scan that right now. And it should actually take you to it. So it's really easy to install. And I will show you my screen. I have no shame in my game. So let me change this. And all right, so here's my WhatsApp. This is kind of just an overview, of course. But you can create your chats. Now, everybody that's in your phone contact list will appear in here also. So if you actually do have contacts that you want to store directly into your device, you have access to do that as well. I encourage you to save anybody in there, just to be able to quick access, because you have to realize that if the European area code to call is +44, and a lot of people don't realize that Mark might kick me if I say it wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, it's only like 1 in 4 Americans actually use WhatsApp. The rest of it's like a real small number, but the United States is the majority that doesn't use it. Like, our country is the only country that does not participate in this app. And you can say what you want, you can take how you want with that, but definitely look into WhatsApp, spread your horizons, spread to everybody around, in your field, out of your field, and all that fun jazz. What's going on, Mark?
Hey, God bless America.
Man, it's really awesome to have you here today, man, and I'm glad you're here to help us connect the dots, as you would say.
Connecting the dots is what I'm all about. Dots, of course, being people and situations.
Yeah, and you're going to talk to us a little bit about that today, man. And like, the communication, I guess, about WhatsApp is like up and down these days, I would say.
Well, ironically, it's down in your fine country, which is kind of ironic considering that Facebook own it. I've been invited to give a TEDx talk called 2 Billion Reasons Why You Should Use WhatsApp to Network Virtually, because that's how many people use it. It's about a quarter of the world's population. Practically everyone uses WhatsApp in Europe, India, and elsewhere. The one country that doesn't use WhatsApp so much is
The U.S.
The United States of America. Only 1 in 5 Americans use WhatsApp. So I'm on a mission to make that 1 in 4. Those 1 in 5 that do use it usually only use it when they or their friends and family are traveling overseas for the free calls and the video calls.
Yeah.
To me, that's a bonus. The networking takes place in WhatsApp groups, and that's primarily text driven. So one of the first things I encourage people to do is to start using WhatsApp on their computer. And that's very simple. You just go to web.whatsapp.com on your computer. You'll see a QR code, and then you marry your smartphone to your computer. And that way you can type messages on the keyboard of your computer. And of course, the screen and the keyboard of your PC or your laptop is much bigger than on your smartphone. And heaven knows we stare enough into the smartphones as it is already. I know I do.
Yeah.
So Freddie Mercury once said, the bigger the better in everything.
Yeah.
And when it comes to screens and keyboards, he was bang on the money.
So I went on that adventure because I was one of those ones that I didn't want to invest any time in WhatsApp. I didn't want to learn about it. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know its opportunities. And so I did it, and I did it on the computer, and it was very easy to do. And I have already connected and created so much already in just the few weeks I've been on it. So
There you go.
It's a really essential tool.
Well, it's the world's most popular messaging platform.
Mark, do you think that the United States, because of the way, like, and I'm just going to put it out there, even though I live here, I don't approve of some of the things, but do you think it's because of the way that we hold down technology, like the other forms of technology and social media devices and other technologies not allowed in other countries? Mm-hmm. So do you think that that may have a reasoning on why the United States doesn't engage as much with WhatsApp? Because, I mean, if the world's, like, we usually want to be on top of everything. The United States is always like, well, we did this first. Like, this seems to be one of those things where everybody else did it first, and we're the ones behind.
Yeah, it's ironic. And the reason behind it is that you guys get your SMS or text messaging bundled into your monthly payment plans. So SMS is free for all intents and purposes, and you're quite happy messaging back and forth that way. Also, a lot of Americans aren't globalists, so they don't need to make international calls or communicate with people outside of the US. But those that do, WhatsApp is the go-to platform because it's ubiquitous. Everyone uses it outside of the US. So it's a great way to connect with new people. I run over 200 WhatsApp groups. Each WhatsApp group has got its own theme. So that might be construction, mergers and acquisitions, oil and gas, automotive, fashion, music, biotech, nanotech. I mean, I know nothing about biotech. It's way beyond me. But what I do know is that when you get 2 or more people in the same virtual room that have an interest in biotechnology, it's more likely to lead to a meeting of minds, a friendship, and a possible transaction.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, business boils down to 2 things, and that's people and trust. So what I've done is created this enormous ecosystem where people feel safe to engage with one another. Yeah. And then the business comes later. It's all about building up those human connections and relationships.
Yeah, I was on your virtual business card, which I've got running down on the screen there. And you had a list of all these different rooms that you had available. And I was blown away. And I thought, hey, what can we do? The possibilities are endless with the music scene and the industry and how we can make things happen with just this virtual connection with others.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you've seen my menu. If if you point your smartphone to my QR code, you can actually see a menu of all my WhatsApp groups. And I'm creating more groups almost daily, because there can be a WhatsApp group about anything. And in some ways, the more niche the subject matter is, the better. So tech won't cut it. But if it's agri-tech or fem-tech, which is all about technology for women, or fintech, then you're more likely to get that synergy and meeting of minds between people involved in those industries.
Yes. So let's talk about the importance of networking and how we can make this something that's beneficial to everybody.
Well, networking remains an inherent part of the human condition. We are all hardwired to network and grow our tribes. And the $840 billion MICE industry, that's meetings, incentive, conferences, and events, is all underpinned by networking. The only reason people go to these trade shows is really to meet their peers, partners, clients, to network. Now, I've been extolling, if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see that I wrote an article in 2018 called The Wonderful World of Virtual Networking.
Yeah, I did read that piece, actually.
Right. Now, back then, of course, I didn't see the pandemic coming. But irrespective of the pandemic, virtual networking rocks, because it's clean, it's free, and it's global. It saves a ton of time, money, and carbon, because we're not driving and flying and pumping a load of pollutants into the atmosphere by getting from A to B. The other enormous advantage, possibly the biggest advantage, is the globality of it. Because if you go to a networking event in, say, Chicago, you're only going to meet people from the Illinois region. Whereas in a WhatsApp group, it's literally the whole world. I've got every continent covered, Asia Pacific, North America, Europe, Australasia, everywhere, apart from Antarctica. I don't think many people live there. A few research scientists.
Right.
Yeah, we call it research. You call it research. Anyway, I love the globality of it all, and virtual networking is here to stay.
Yeah.
And when the whole COVID thing is behind us, I think you'll find more and more hybrid events, which is going to be a combination of real world and virtual, because that way the whole world can attend any given event.
Yes.
How cool is that?
Very much.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions that you feel like, Mark, when it comes to WhatsApp? Because I know you being in the field and stuff, like I'm sure you hear the pros, the cons, all of it. So to you, like, what are some of the most misconception pieces about WhatsApp?
Well, the biggest misconception, I think, is that people feel that WhatsApp is just a tool for calls and video calls, which are free and ad-free. They don't see that WhatsApp is actually a very useful business tool as well. And that's what I've done. Is I'm harnessing the enormous global reach of this platform for business purposes. A lot of people that use WhatsApp just use it with their friends and family. They don't make the connection that it's actually a very cool business tool.
I'll admit, yeah, I didn't when I first, being in the media, like you hear about all the new platforms all the time, when it first came out, like it's not unfair to say that when WhatsApp came out, the United States, like the media sources were like, oh, it's not our technology, don't use it, it's not safe. And I kind of was like, man, I can't wait to meet somebody one day that has really like sat down with this. And then Roxy was like, guess who we're gonna sit down with? I was like, yes, I get some answers. So, it looks like a great tool. I have not set it up yet on my desktop computer yet because I wanted to be able to like not just start, oh, look what I can do, click and do it and then mess something up. I wanted to actually go through and be able to start utilizing it instantly. So I'm going to be setting it up the rest of the way today. As a matter of fact, it's open right here.
Well, it's a 2-minute job.
Yeah.
And I'll introduce you to some people that will blow your mind. I've got an awesome network of amazing people all over the world, including your fine country.
Yeah.
By the way, the international dialing code for the UK is 44. For France, it's 33. For Spain, it's 34. What is it in the United States?
Oh goodness.
Depends on where you're at.
It's +1.
Is it?
That says it all. That says it all.
Oh yeah.
You're the biggest and the best, and you know it.
Man, I didn't know that. But yeah, we're the best, so we might as well, keep
Well, the
at it, keep
international,
going.
the short code for international calls is plus.
So
Okay.
yeah. So do you make that plus in the phone, or is it just 44 and then all the numbers?
You tell your phone plus, and then you put the country code in. So, like a lot of Americans don't know that to make an international phone call, you actually have to do 011 from where you are. Here in Europe, it's 00.
Wow.
But the plus gets around all of that. The plus knows that that's an international, and then you just put the country code and the rest of the number there.
See, that shows I never get out of country. That shows how sheltered of an American I am.
Well, your country has got so much to offer. I can see why most Americans don't bother with a passport, because there's so much to do and see in your country anyway. But if ever you do come over to Europe, please come to the UK, and I'll show you London.
I want to come to a real football game, Mark. That's what I want to do. I want to go to
soccer.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Soccer. Yeah. You know. But
so you have some hints and tips for people who are just starting out on the WhatsApp, correct? You know, some kind of guidelines to kind of go with to help make it easier to learn. It's not hard to learn at all. Sure.
So the networking takes place in WhatsApp groups. And when you join a WhatsApp group, all you're going to do is see a load of numbers that you don't recognize of the people. And as you get to know them, then you tell your phone who that person is. Okay, so if it's Mary Smith, then tell your phone that's her name associated with that number, and then she will appear as Mary Smith in your in the WhatsApp group that you're in. Each WhatsApp group holds up to 256 people. When you're in the WhatsApp group, the first thing you're going to do is say, "Hi everyone, my name's Anthony. I live in wherever. I do this. I want that. A fun fact if you have one." And then include your LinkedIn URL at the end. Now, I sometimes describe LinkedIn as the world's least social media because personally, I find it quite clunky.
Yeah.
I don't like the user experience, but it's an invaluable social media because it's the world's leading business social media platform. And then you can see where they went to school, where they've worked, what mutual connections you've got, what they do, basically.
Yeah.
So it's an online resume, and you can see who's recommended them. So I love LinkedIn for that purpose, and that's why I get people to include their LinkedIn in the introduction. What they then find is their LinkedIn will explode because a lot of people will reach out to them and connect on LinkedIn. But I see WhatsApp as a kind of conduit between LinkedIn and places like Zoom, Remo. Remo, by the way, is remo.co. It's much better than Zoom for networking because it replicates a real world networking environment much better than Zoom does. The breakout rooms in Zoom, I call them virtual prisons, because you can't move around freely like you would in real life. And of course, the whole point of networking is to arrive at a meaningful one-to-one situation. And
Absolutely.
so in person is the ultimate goal. But look, you guys are about 4,500 miles away from where I am right now. Can you imagine for us to meet in person right now would cost a lot of time and money.
Yeah.
Sure would.
Yeah,
Here we are.
It cuts the
Connected
whole.
virtually.
It feels like you're next door.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It cuts the whole. Back in the day, you have to like schmooze and all that. Your guests, take them out to dinner, do all that stuff. Now, now you don't have to do that. Now there's no bills, no nothing, no, just hit them up, have the conversation, get back to your day, whatever you got going on.
Exactly. It saves so much time and money, and as I say, pollution, because we're not pumping a load of pollutants into the atmosphere by flying.
And the way the world is going, we're seeming to be a lot more into the virtual world, and everything is, populating in so many different areas. So that's one of the things I like to, address with our audience is that the virtual world is, increasing, and we need to utilize these features that are given to us, just handed to us. So
absolutely, this is really cool tech, and it gets a bad rap sometimes. I mean, WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, who is sometimes portrayed as a sort of demigod, but ultimately this technology is facilitating the connections that matter the most, and that's human connections.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
And there's an enormous paradox actually with this technology, because smartphones, I've got a real love-hate relationship with my smartphone. On the one hand, it does so much. It's a radio, it's a TV, it's my diary, it's a satellite navigation system, and it's a phone, of course. But paradoxically, these smartphones are killing off the communications that matter the most, and that's human ones. Because when you walk down the high street and see people in restaurants or on a subway or what, the people are just glued to their smartphones so much now. You might have seen that video, Look Up. That was actually 7 years ago. And it's more relevant now than ever because everyone's staring into their smartphones the whole time.
that's the truth of it.
It's crazy to before the pandemic, everybody was like, put the device down, step away, look up for once. I remember the campaigns of look up, don't look down, whatever. And now the pandemic happened, and now everybody's looking down, and nobody's saying anything about it. This is what we got to do. Let's just keep doing it.
Yeah. But back to your question, Roxy, the best thing to do with networking is networking is like opening a bank account. You cannot make a withdrawal until you make a deposit. So
love that saying.
It's all about giving and helping,
right?
Sharing, and then the law of attraction and the universe will get to work, and you'll get whatever you've done back with interest. It might take time. But the thing is with networking is to take an interest in other people. Don't think about yourself too much. We've got 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen to what people have to say. Take an interest in them. And by doing that, they'll take an interest in you.
Yeah.
right? And there is a proper way to networking as well. So be mindful, and it's
Well,
not
if you hire me, Roxy, I can teach you how to become a virtual networking goddess in my 1 hour power hour. Or if you retain me, then I can network for you, because about 10% of people hate networking passionately. It's a bit like public speaking. It's just not their gig. They find it intimidating.
Yeah, and if you're already in public eye, you don't want to step in more than you already are, unless you're one of those people. But it's so hard to balance one line and try to pick up 2 or 3 and still keep the boat afloat.
The last place on earth a celebrity would want to be is in a WhatsApp group. But I can network for them. Once I understand what their business goals are, I just tenaciously seek out the people to help meet their business goals and bring them to the table. I was retained on Friday by one of the world's leading law firms, and my contact there just does not have the bandwidth to network. He doesn't have the time. And that's it. Over half of all people quite like networking, but they do not have the time. It's quite a time-consuming process to do that. So with my concierge service, I network for my clients so they don't have to. Then I will share the LinkedIn profile of the individual that I found, just in case they know them, which is highly unlikely. And then I set up a 3-way call, me, them, and the person that I found. On that call, I will break the ice, make the introduction, and then I walk away. I've done my job then. My job is to bring people to the virtual table and make those connections.
It definitely sounds worth the time to get you. And what was the name of the company again? It was the MJ Consultancy, right? And you do an hour power. What was it?
Yeah, so if you go to mjconsultancy.com, you'll see the services that I offer. There's the membership to the WhatsApp groups, and that's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, depending on how many groups you want to join. And that varies from £9.99 a month, which is about $13, up to £49 for all the groups, plus use of Remo, the platform that I mentioned earlier on. Then there's the Power Hour, which is where I teach people how to network virtually. That's just an hour or maybe a little longer. And then there's the retained concierge service, where I network for people who then pay me. I keep that pricing flexible, because if someone wants me to reach out to, say, life coaches, for me, that's really low-hanging fruit. I've got life coaches coming out of my ears. But if they want me to reach out to C-level of a multi-million-dollar corporation, that's much more work for me, and therefore I would charge more. Also, if the client is a corporate, I'm going to charge more than I would a solopreneur. But those prices are between 500 and 2,000 a month pounds. Half of that is payable straight away as an engagement fee. And then after a month, assuming they're happy with my services, then they pay me the balance.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap up here soon, and I wanted to know if you had any final words or anything else you'd leave the audience with.
Yeah, just remember this. I think the thing is with virtual networking this way, it's like anything else. If you were to spend all of tomorrow on Twitter the whole day, you will get results. But it's hard work. You have to put the effort in. And the same with virtual networking. If you join a WhatsApp group and just sit back and do nothing, not much will happen. But if you engage and take an interest in people and respond and welcome new members and become an active participant in the communities that I've built and curated, then you will get results.
You know, I think back and I look at the music community, and I think bands, especially post and pre-COVID, could have and will benefit from an app like this, because you're getting your music, your anything at this point, as far as a band or an artist is concerned, you're getting your whole self right out there in front of a huge crowd of people in one swing. You know, it could be a whole nother audience base. I think there's bands definitely that should definitely look into this, man. And
absolutely, there's another advantage of WhatsApp. If you're a brand or a musician, you can share your music as an MP3 or MP4 directly on WhatsApp. They can hear the music straight away. You can't do that with SMS.
right.
Videos, voice files, documents, presentations, they can all be shared on WhatsApp. In fact, I've gone off email altogether. I try and avoid email like the plague.
Yeah.
I keep email for really important stuff like agreements and contracts, but for day-to-day conversations, it's WhatsApp the whole way. I can't stand email. But everyone's different. Everyone has their own, you know, some people are really into Instagram. I've got more into Instagram since I've been using Clubhouse, because the two are into, you know, Instagram is a way of communicating via Clubhouse, at least before they introduced the back channel. But some people are really into Instagram. Some people are into TikTok. I know the world's leading woman TikTok influencer, by the way. Some people are into Snapchat. I'm far too old for Snapchat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are so many platforms out there, aren't there? But as I say, WhatsApp is pretty much standard here. It's everyone uses it, and I'm delighted to be here because I want to teach you, Anthony, how to use WhatsApp, and seriously introduce you to some people in the music industry that can help you.
Yeah.
Roxy, you've already made good progress in. I think you're in the Powerful Women group.
Yes, I am. Yep.
And some of my groups are aimed at women because I'm passionate about helping women. I cannot understand why only 3% of venture capitalists are women.
Right. Absolutely. I'm with you, Mark. It stumps me. You look at the numbers, you know, and I just, these days, man, like, you know, just.
Right. So one of my WhatsApp groups is called Women in VC. And that's all about getting more women involved in, well, money, quite frankly. Women engineers. I mean, women rock. You know that. But in some ways, it's still a man's world, as that frightening statistic about venture capitalists demonstrates, you know. So I'm trying to help leverage this technology by creating communities where women can help each other. And by the way, in the interest of diversity and inclusion, there are men in the Powerful Women group, but only if they invite a woman. That's their ticket.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely met some amazing people, learned a lot of things, and I think that we have a path here for the music industry, and I think we should try and follow that path and make great things happen with it.
Music was my first love, and it will be my last.
Oh.
Who said that? Who sang that? You're probably too young to remember. John Miles. Yeah. Beautiful song.
Nice trivia for the day.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate you, Mark, and all the information that you brought to us and our audience.
Here to serve. Here to serve.
Make sure everybody hit him up if you have any questions about anything. And all right. Thank you, Mark. Take care.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, we'll see you soon, man. Thank you.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you feel me, put your hands